Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. It's Christmas in July and I will be sharing a few Christmas videos with you this month. I'm starting with a new collection from scrapbook.com. This is their Holly Express collection. The collection includes a new paper pad called Holly Express. I'm showing you the A2 size, but it's also available in 6x8. So if you like the larger size paper, that is an option. Lots of really fun colors, cute designs. There are a few solids and those colors match beautifully with the rest of the pattern paper. The collection also includes a new stamp set called Holly Express, and there are coordinating dies. The stamp set has that vintage postcard look. I love the two larger sentiments, Christmas wishes and holiday cheer, and there are dies that go around those sentiments. Scrapbook.com also released their new Christmas train die set, although you could use this throughout the year, just exclude the Christmas trees. So it includes the train engine, 2 of the cars, and also the shadow outline piece for the 3 train cars. So those are the main products I'll be using for my cards, and I have 6 different card designs to share with you. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I will be using some card sketches for inspiration. The first sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. It's number 692. And if you're interested in any of the sketches I use in this video, I share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. For the background of my card, using the pattern paper with the green stripe design. For the strip on the right side, selected the holly leaves and berries, and I am layering them on some of the dark green solid. This is included in the Holly Express paper pad. If you don't want to use the pattern paper, you could always grab some green cardstock from your stash. I love when scrapbook.com includes those solids since they match the pattern paper beautifully. For the 3 small squares, I'm using the solid light teal and layering them on the same dark green solid. And for my cardstock layers around the holly strip and the light teal, I added an additional 1/8 of an inch. So the green cardstock layer for the teal square is 1 3/8 of an inch. Before adhering those down, the left side will dip down since it goes off of the holly paper and that cardstock layer. So first I'll put a scrap piece of cardstock behind those squares just on the left side. And I just grabbed some cardstock from my stash. It's a fairly thick black cardstock. You can use any cardstock you have on hand since it won't be visible. The adhesive I've been using is scrapbook.com's Deluxe Adhesive Roller. And for liquid adhesive, I'm using the brand new Craft Glue Pen. This is my first time using it, and I would suggest trying it out on a scrap piece of paper first. I did not, and I think the glue solution separated a little bit, probably during shipping. So that first little bit that I squeezed out was very watery. So I did end up with 2 sort of water droplets, and it did soak through just slightly on my stamp sentiment. Right now it looks a little smudged, but once it dried, it's actually not that bad. So just remember, first use it on a scrap piece of paper. After that, I didn't have any problems at all. It worked just fine. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiments, and the ink color I use is Catherine Pooler's Rockin Red. And I cut them all out using the coordinating dies. I'll put 2 of the circle sentiments on the squares, and then in the center square, I'm adding the larger Christmas wishes sentiment. To help the sentiment stand out a little bit more, using the outline die, I cut out a second piece from the green solid. I adhered them together, offsetting them slightly so you can see that green underneath the sentiment and on the left side. Before adhering it down, I'm adding some foam squares on the right and left side of the sentiment, just in the area where it goes off of that square. And I use the small foam squares in 1mm thickness. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 2, the sketch is from Cards TV number 62. I selected 4 pattern papers plus some of the solids. I will be using some of the Roses smooth cardstock for one of the layers. Several of the pinks match beautifully with this paper collection. For the very background, I'm using the pattern paper with lots of Christmas icons. I'll be layering that on the green solid. On the left side, that narrow strip, I'm using the pink tone-on-tone diagonal stripe. With a small square in the center, use the light pink with colorful polka dots, layering that on green. And the red polka dot piece, I'm layering on the pink cardstock. I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. Next, I'll add the square in the center, but before adding the polka dot piece, I'll put a scrap piece of cardstock on the top and bottom, just in the area where it goes off of that center square piece. That way it stays at the same level. For a sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out, Holiday Cheer, and the ink color I use is Catherine Pooler's Deck the Halls. It matches beautifully with the dark greens in this collection. Using the die, I did cut out a second piece from the solid green, and just like the previous card, I'll layer them together, offsetting them slightly so you can see some of that green underneath and on the left side of the sentiment. Before adhering the sentiment down, on the right side where it goes off of the red polka dot paper, I'll add some scrap pieces of cardstock. Then I'll put glue on the back and adhere the sentiment more on the right side of the card, following the design of the card sketch, although the sentiment is much bigger than what's indicated. For embellishments, I'm adding 3 silver mirror stars. And these are the little stars that go on top of the tree in the Christmas train die set. And the silver mirror paper is from scrapbook.com's holographic mirror paper pad. I'll put 2 above the sentiment on the left side and 1 underneath the sentiment on the right side. For a few of my card designs, I'm not adding any thick embellishments. That way I have some Christmas cards on hand that I won't need to pay additional postage. For card design number 3, the card sketch is from Sketch Saturday. It's number 777. For the background of my card, selected the pink and teal grid pattern paper. For the longer rectangle piece, using the red polka dot paper. And the featured pattern paper has lots of little Santa heads. And I'm layering the Santa and the background on some of the pink smooth cardstock that's part of the Roses collection. There's enough contrast between the polka dot paper and the grid design, so I didn't layer that piece on any additional cardstock. After adding the polka dot piece, I'll layer the grid piece on the lighter pink solid. Then I'll put adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Before adding the Santa piece, I will put a scrap piece of pattern paper at the very top, just in the area where it goes off of the polka dot paper. With all the different circle sentiments on the Holly Express stamp set, I thought this sketch would be perfect. I've already stamped out the sentiment, Polar Express Mail, 25 December with the Santa in the center. The ink color I use for the sentiment is Distress Oxide Crackling Campfire. And I cut it out using the coordinating die, and I will layer it on one of the pink solids. That way it stands out a little more from the background. I'll add the sentiment in the upper left-hand corner. Before adhering it down, I'll put some thin foam squares on the left side, and on the right side where it sits on the Santa paper, I'm adding a scrap piece of white cardstock. After removing the release paper from the foam, I'll put glue behind the cardstock area and adhere the sentiment in the upper left-hand corner. For embellishments, I'm using enamel dots from Altenew. This is their Sweet Dream set. I selected the lightest teal color on the left side. It matches the grid stripes in the background. I'll put 2 medium dots in the upper right-hand corner and 3 of the smallest dots in the lower left-hand corner. For card design number 4, the sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 690. I selected 3 pattern papers for the background, and I'm layering them on some brown cardstock, and this is from the Neutral Smooth Cardstock paper pad. The largest design has all the trains and presents, putting that one at the bottom. At the very top, I'm adding the stripe paper, and then the narrow strip in the center using the red polka dot design. I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base. And I am adding 1 extra piece on this sketch, a large banner. Since this card will feature one of the train images, I want to make sure it stands out against this busy background. So I'm using one of the pink colors from the Roses Smooth Cardstock paper pad. Cut a fishtail on the bottom, adhere it in the very center. And this piece is 2 1/4 inch by 4 inches. Now I'll set aside the card and start assembling the train. I'm adding the train engine car. I've already die cut out all the pieces and I have them in the small stack and sort tray from scrapbook.com. And I'm doing all the gluing on a cut down version of their project grip mat. I use white cardstock for the train shadow outline piece. And this works great as the guide, so you can get all the different die cut pieces of the train assembled correctly. The light teal, dark green, and red are all from the Holly Express paper pad. The gray is from the Daybreak Smooth Cardstock paper pad. The browns are from the Neutrals Smooth Cardstock paper pad. And I am using a little bit of silver mirror paper, and this is from scrapbook.com's holographic mirror paper pad. Some of the pieces are fairly small, so it does help to use a pair of reverse tweezers. For the narrow red pieces, it does look like a solid red color, except for that very top with the little scallop. You can see just a tiny bit of one of the polka dots. When I was cutting them out, I positioned the die to try to get as much of the red solid and not the polka dot color. For assembling the train, I did switch liquid adhesives. I'm using scrapbook.com's Artis glue, and this bottle has the ultra fine metal tip on it. I feel I have a little more control with the Artis glue versus the new glue pen. But I may just need a little more practice with the new glue pen. For a couple of the teeny tiny pieces, I did use the Craft Pro Pick tool to pick them up. That top little metal piece and the very front of the train engine. Now I'll attach the 3 wheels. On the engine, there are 2 large wheels and 1 smaller wheel. Just have 1 final wheel to attach and our train engine is all assembled. This is such a fun design. I will be popping it up using foam dimension. I grabbed scrapbook.com's large and small foam squares in the 1mm thickness. I ran out of the large squares. Luckily, I did have another package on hand. I'll fill in some of those little gap areas with the small squares. And I'll be adding the train on a vellum circle die cut. The vellum adds a little bit of separation from the busy background, but you can still see some of the lovely patterns through it. I'll attach the train on the circle first, then flip it over, put glue on the back, only putting it behind the train die cut area. That way the glue doesn't show through on the vellum. Then I'll adhere the circle with the train on the card. Now this circle is larger than what's indicated on the card sketch. It's about 3 1/4 of an inch in diameter. I needed it large enough to fit the train. For a sentiment, I've already stamped out Merry Christmas, and this sentiment is part of Scrapbook.com's Wordfetti Fa La La set. It's a great set with tons of Christmas and holiday sentiments. I used Catherine Pooler's Deck the Hall ink, stamped it on white cardstock, and I am layering it on the same light brown cardstock I used for the very background. I'll trim off that brown cardstock on the very right side of the sentiment, and I will be popping it up using more small foam squares. But first, I'll add a small scrap piece of cardstock on the right side, just in the area where it goes off of that pink banner. Then I'll add the foam squares. For embellishments, I'm using more enamel dots. This is the Pebble color from Concord and 9th. I'll put 3 underneath the sentiment on the right side and 2 in the lower left-hand corner. I love how this card turned out. The new Christmas train die set is so fun. Now moving on to card design number 5. I'm not using a card sketch for the last 2 cards. I selected 2 pattern papers. And the red solid color I'm layering the pink confetti paper is from the Peppermint Smooth cardstock paper pad. The pink confetti paper is 3 5/8 of an inch by 4 7/8 of an inch, and the red cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch. So 3 3/4 of an inch by 5 inches. I'll add this panel on a red and pink gingham paper, and this is A2 size. I'll put adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base. The image and sentiment I'll be using for this card is from Scrapbook.com's Christmas Animals Rub-On Set number 1. There are 2 different sets of the Christmas animals, and they are super cute. I will be adding a frame, and I use Scrapbook.com's Nested Stitched Zigzag frame die set. I cut it out from the same red cardstock I use for that background layer, and I'll start by adding that zigzag frame. I'll hold it with a pair of reverse tweezers, put Artiste glue on the back, and add it almost in the center of this pink confetti piece, putting it just slightly higher. Using the same zigzag frame die, I also cut it out of white cardstock so I can inlay that piece. You can add the rub-on transfer images on pattern paper, but you will be able to see some of the design through the rub-ons. So I'm adding it on white cardstock instead. There are several different methods for transferring rub-ons. I'm going with the old-fashioned popsicle stick, and this is included in the set. And the image transferred beautifully. Scrapbook.com's rub-ons are nothing like the rub-ons we used to use 20, 30 years ago. When I first got into paper crafting, rub-ons were so popular, but some of them were so fussy and you couldn't always get the image to transfer nicely. The new rub-ons transfer beautifully and are so easy to use. After adding the image box inside the red zigzag frame, I'll add the sentiment on some white cardstock, and with a pair of scissors, I'll trim out the 2 edges. When I placed the rub-on down on the white cardstock, I put it in one of the corners. That way I only had to trim 2 sides. I'll put glue on the back and adhere the sentiment underneath the image and at the bottom of the zigzag frame. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. Now moving on to card design number 6. For this card, I'll be using 2 die sets from Waffle Flower, their Postage Collage die, and also their Postage Collage Blocks die set. I used the Postage Collage die with the light teal cardstock. And with the Postage Collage blocks die, I use the pattern paper that has the red and pink diagonal frame and a light cream color on the inside. And I'm really just going for that light cream color. The cutout pieces from the blocks die fit perfectly inside the Postage Collage die frame. Now inside all 6 pieces, I'll be adding some of the rub-on images, and I'm using the same Christmas Animals set number 1. A couple of the rub-on images are larger than the blocks, so when I'm transferring them, I'm doing it on a scrap piece of white cardstock. That way I don't get that leftover area of the rub-on on my workspace mat. And with that extra area, I'm simply wrapping it around the back. So the Santa bag filled with toys, the very bottom does go off the edge. And also the green present, the very bottom of it goes off the edge. This is the piece that goes in the lower right-hand corner. And for some of the snowflakes, I'm purposely placing them at the edge so they do go off the end. Along with all these fun Christmas images, the rub-on set also includes lots of lovely gold stars and snowflakes. And they work perfectly to fill in some of the white areas. And since they're gold, it has this lovely metallic shine. Along with Santa's bag of toys, I'm putting 3 presents and 2 poinsettias, and then a bunch of the gold snowflakes and stars. I will be adding some of the stamped images in the upper right-hand corner, so I'm not filling in those areas with any of the gold snowflakes. Putting 3 of them around the blue present, and this block will go in the lower left-hand corner. So once all the images are transferred, I'll start adhering those cream colored blocks on the teal Postage Collage die cut. And I'm using Artiste glue. This is such a fun die set. You could add stamped images, die cuts, use pattern paper for those individual blocks, so many different options. I bought the die sets when they first came out, but I will admit this is the first time I actually use them. Of course, now that I've pulled it out, I have so many different ideas on how I could use it. It was Scrapbook.com's new Holly Express stamp set that made me go looking for the Waffle Flower Postage Collage die set. And you'll see why here in just a moment. So after I've adhered all the blocks inside the Postage Collage die cut, I want to add a little bit of ink, give it more of a distressed look. I pulled out my black grid project grip mat, and I'm using Distress Oxide Walnut Stain ink color. I have Scrapbook.com's small blending brush, and I'll add ink along the outside edges, also putting some along the inside edges of the blocks. Some areas will be a little darker than other areas. We'll continue along the outside edge, filling in some of those inside areas. For the background of my card, I'm using the green tone-on-tone diagonal stripe paper, and I'm also adding some of the walnut stain ink color along the outside edge. You'll only see the outside edge, so I'm not worried about the very center. I'll just finish this one side. This green stripe piece is A2 size. I'll put adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Now I'll set that piece aside, grab the Postage Collage die cut, and I will be stamping directly on it. So I'm grabbing my MISTI. This is the Rose Quartz color MISTI that's only available at Scrapbook.com. I'm using 2 of the stamp images from the Holly Express stamp set, starting with the cancel stamp, the little wavy lines. I'll put it in the upper right-hand corner so it'll sit on 2 of those block pieces. The ink color I'm using is Scrapbook.com's Dark Chocolate. This is one of my favorite brown ink colors. And before switching to the next stamp, I need to clean off this first stamp. I use my pink cotton candy stamp Shammy from Scrapbook.com. And yes, mine is very well loved, but it cleans stamps beautifully and doesn't leave any little fiber pieces. Now I'll grab the round stamp that has Christmas delivery and 25, and I'm putting it in the very upper right hand corner. I use Catherine Pooler's Deck the Halls in color. Before adding the Postage Collage die cut on the front of my card, I'm first putting a piece of vellum. And this piece is 5 inches by 3 3/4 of an inch. I'll put adhesive on the back, trying to avoid the very outside edge. Then I'll adhere it on the card, and I am keeping that piece straight. But for the Postage Collage die cut, I will be adhering it at an angle. I'm also popping it up using foam dimension. I grabbed the large and small foam squares in the 1 millimeter thickness. Made sure to get good coverage and also avoided putting them behind the holes. I don't want that foam visible. After removing the release paper, I'll add this piece at an angle on my card. This is almost a full A2 size, so I did use quite a few foam pieces. I wanted to make sure to have good coverage and there weren't any areas that sagged. So there is my finished card. I love how this one turned out. The Postage Collage die cut looks so pretty with all the lovely rub-on images. Now here's another look at the 12 cards I made using Scrapbook.com's brand new Holly Express paper, along with the Holly Express stamps, coordinating dies, the Christmas train, and several other fun Christmas products from Scrapbook.com. It's Christmas in July, so it's the perfect time to get started on your Christmas projects for this year. And Scrapbook.com never disappoints with their fun new releases. Lots of great new Christmas products. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.